Hey, what's going on? Today I wanted to talk about the Crucible changes in patch 2.3.0. We're going to start off with the class balancing of the Titan. The Sunbreaker's Super Hammer of Soul. The hammer travel speed has been increased by 1.3%, so it's not that big of an increase, but I don't think it's going to be that noticeable. Hammer detonation radius has been increased by 10%. Now, I don't really think this was needed, personally, but I don't really play on Titans, but I do notice it in Crucible when I see someone pop their hammer. Moving on to the Striker subclass for the Titan, the base damage has been increased by 50% and an additional 50 damage against AI combatants, so it might be viable in PvE instead of just PvP. Moving on to the Defender, the spike grenade damage impulses per second reduced to 5 from 10. I don't think that's going to be a big one, but we'll have to see. The spike grenade damage per impulse increased by 100%. Total damage is unchanged. I think that's a bigger change. I think the spike grenades might be more viable now. Moving on to the Hunters, the Gunslinger subclass. Grenades. The Swarm Grenade has an increased arming radius of 0.5 meters, not a big one. I don't see many people using the Swarm Grenade. Swarm Grenade's detonation damage is increased by 7%. That's going to be a good one. It'll be more like skip grenades in the Blade Dancer. Trip Mine no longer attaches to targets. Arms on impact and bounces and attaches to terrain. See, this one is a big one. I've been stuck with trip mines in the Crucible. I used to use them. Trip mines damage is reduced by 3%, so it can no longer one-bang opponents. Golden Gun base damage is increased by 50% and an additional 30% against AI combatants. This will be a good one if using Celestial Nighthawk in PvE. It'll really eat away at the health of a major. Melee, the throwing knife base damage is reduced by 10%. I really don't feel that this one was needed. Throwing knives never really did much anyways. Circle of Life modified functionality. Precision kills with throwing knife reduce the cooldown of Golden Gun. Now, if I'm correct, the Circle of Life extended Golden Gun duration if you got a kill with it in your Golden Gun, but now it just reduces the cooldown. So yeah, Circle of Life no longer extends the duration of Golden Gun. If you use the Circle of Life, you have 1 armor removed. The passives Scavenger increase the amount of grenade and melee energy awarded by 33%. Not too bad. If you use Chain of Woe, you have 1 recovery added. If you use Over the Horizon, which increases the range of your Golden Gun, you have 1 recovery removed. Onto the Blade Dancer. This is where most of the changes were made. More of the bigger changes that were made on the Blade Dancer subclass. Now onto the grenades. The skip grenade, the tracking time reduced to 8 seconds from 12 seconds. I haven't really noticed this much. I've been playing with Blade Dancer a lot.
There we go. That's how I do it.
I really don't see much of a difference. Skip grenade detonation damage reduced by 13%. See, now I definitely noticed it there, but it's not gonna punish you too much. Double jump. Blink now incurs a -1 recovery penalty. I don't feel it was needed. I think the changes that were needed was in the blink cooldown instead rather than -1 recovery. Super Arc Blade. Charged to be less about repeatedly swinging and more about decisive strikes with additional effectiveness. Now this is definitely one of the ones that I've noticed the most in PvP. You can't just wildly swing at your opponents. You have to kind of use it, like I said, decisively. Base duration increased by 2 seconds, which is a good one. Haven't noticed it too much, but 2 seconds on your super, that's pretty good. Hit detection test range increased by 0.5 meters. Not too big of a change, but definitely noticeable. Damage increased by 30 against AI combatants. I think this is a great change because, well, Arc Blade never really been a viable option in PvE. Added a 0.8 second cooldown between Arc Blade swings while airborne. This is definitely a good one because when I see people activate their Arc Blade, I just see them just swinging so wildly. Energy cost per swing increased by 20%. Good. That's a good change. Energy cost on hit decreased by 20%. This is a good one so you can get more multi-kills. Before you could get like maybe 2-3 kills with your Arc Blade before it ran out. Vanish now causes the player to vanish on cast in addition to its normal functionality. That's a nice one. It's good for stealth strikers. Showstopper. Damage radius increased by 1 meter. Melee blink strike. Lunge distance is increased by 0.4 meters. Backstab. Valid backstab angle reduced by 30 degrees. Escape artist. Invisibility effect delayed by 0.5 seconds. This isn't a big change. Encore, killing an enemy with Arc Blade now extends its duration and grants a 150 increase to Arc Blade damage for a short time. Now I'm guessing the short time is about 5 seconds. On to the Night Stalker. Same spike grenade changes as the Titan. Super. Shadow Shot applies the suppression effect on impact. Smoke. Changed to be less frustrating to play against in PvP, but more effective in PvE. This is a good one because I don't really see many people using smoke unless it's to vanish in smoke in PvE. Impact increased by 30. Impact damage increased by 34% on the smoke. Impact suppression and damage over time duration reduced by 1 second. Jump suppression removed from initial impact status effects. Unupgraded smoke cloud duration increased by 1 second, and venomed cloud duration increased by 1 second. Envenomed jump suppression effects removed from the smoke. Vanish in smoke equals 1 agility removed. Snare cloud duration increased by 1 second. On to the Warlock. Not many changes here. We have the Firebolt increased arming time by 0.2 seconds. Not a big change. You're not going to really notice much there unless you're looking at it frame by frame. Firebolt decreased victim search radius by 1 meter. This is a big one because it's always had such a wide radius of getting people, and its harm. Now the melee Scorch Flame Shield has a 0.3 second delay added before the overshield activation. Viking Funeral now affects weakened targets afflicted with ignite effects, causing them to take 5% more damage from all sources, stacking up to 3 times. Very balanced. I like the change. Voidwalker. Blink now incurs a -1 penalty on recovery. Base damage increased by 50% and an additional 50% against AI opponents for the Nova Bomb. Lance now increases Nova Bomb damage by an additional 25%. I really like these changes and hope you guys have some fun in the Crucible. Catch y'all.